Welcome to the American Business Podcast. We are back from Thanksgiving break, and I'm welcoming you, episode 105. Today's number is 19. That's the size of business coaching market, estimated to be in the United States. That's for 2024. And the code of the day, as you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and we bring you the code of the day. Failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. Thank you very much for being with us. I'm Kevin Deveci, your host. We have a great guest today. Speaking of coaching industry, as I mentioned, today's number is 19. We have a great guest today, and we'll learn from her insights, and we'll dive deeper into the coaching industry and some more informative content, as we always bring you in the American Business Podcast. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. Let's invite our guests to our virtual stage, and let's get the conversation started. Hi, Kristen. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks so much for having me. I love that music. It gets you really psyched up for the interview.
Yes, this is one of my favorites. It's a pretty nice beat. So
yeah.
Gets us started. How about you? How is your week going so far?
It's good. It's been, you're always a little busy after a holiday week. So it's been kind of a little bit catching up, but it's been a really good week.
Yes, absolutely. So I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving.
Absolutely. Lovely. Yes. And I took Friday off, and I actually napped off and on and read a book all day. It was lovely. How about you?
Yeah. This is great. Yes, I had a great Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a great time for spending time with family and friends, of course. So I was grateful. We have a lot of things that we need to be thankful about. So that was a great opportunity to appreciate that and to spend time with the family. So that was great for me. We had a break during Thanksgiving week last week. So this is our first episode in the American Business Podcast after Thanksgiving. So you're our first guest after Thanksgiving holiday. Welcome.
Yay. Hopefully everybody's awake after all that turkey.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes, absolutely. Well, we have a lot to cover, and I'm really curious about your professional insights, and I'm glad that we met in the American Business Podcast. Thank you very much for being with us. As a start, would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our audience and to our listeners?
Sure. Yeah, I'm the co-founder of Six Figure Business Coaching, and we joke that we coach our clients and we train their virtual assistants for them. So we're not a marketing agency or an outsourcing agency. We truly are a coaching business, and love what I do. My background's actually real estate and mortgage, but kind of fell into coaching by accident, like a lot of people. So it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah, this is exciting, and coaching is also an industry that I'm always curious about. So I'm glad that you are with us on the podcast. Would you please tell us about your career journey a little bit? How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Yeah, sure. So my background, like I said, is real estate. I started selling real estate late 80s. And then I moved over to the mortgage side. I went on to own a mortgage company and a title company. And we did a lot of loans for self-employed people, and I was very involved in the community and networking. And when you do a loan for someone, you see their personal tax returns and their business tax returns. And what would happen is those clients would ask if they could take me to lunch to pick my brain. And that really started a journey of just mentoring other business owners. And I really loved that. Had no intention of a coaching business, but it just kind of naturally happened. We survived the 2008 crash. But I was very burnt out in the real estate industry. I've been there a long time, and my mom was terminally ill. And so I started taking on paid coaching clients. That took off a lot faster than I expected. And I exited the mortgage and title industry in 2013. And it's been a fun journey ever since.
Can you tell us about your day-to-day work experience? What are the exciting and challenging parts of your work? I understand you meet with different business professionals. I'm sure it's a great experience, but we love to hear from you in terms of challenges and exciting parts of your work daily basis.
Sure. So with my one-on-one practice, because I still have one-on-one clients, a lot of they're in different industries. So I know the magic rule is niche down, but I also like the interest of working in different industries. So that I find challenging and very inspiring because I'm learning so much about the different industries that my clients are in. For our outsourcing services, we mostly work with coaches, consultants, and real estate agents. And so my day to day is either coaching a client, I'm on a coffee chat or a sales call, coaching our team, or creating content. So that's generally, we're improving our offers or improving our, sales pages or emails. So that's the gist of what I think my day-to-day life is like. It's never boring and no 2 days are ever the same.
Yeah, this is great, and I'm sure that what makes your job exciting, in the sense having that energy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I have a business partner. So we like to say we both stay in our lane. We have very different skills. And so she does her part and I do my part. And that's awesome because it allows us to both really spend more time in our unique ability than you often get if you're a solopreneur. So that's been really amazing is having a partner. And it's fun to have someone else who has strengths where you have weaknesses. But we talk a lot about how, outsourcing can help you bridge those weaknesses by finding people who have strengths in areas that you are not great in or you don't enjoy being in.
Yeah, that's the beauty of partnership, right? So complementing each other
Yes,
to
yeah.
take the business to the next level. So that sounds great. Well, in terms of coaching industry, how do you see the state of coaching industry in general? What is your take from based on your professional observation?
Right. Well, when you said that the business coaching industry in and of itself is $19 billion a year, that kind of blew me away, to be quite honest. That's a lot of money. I think there's lots
That's
of
true.
different styles of coaching and lots of different problems and issues that coaches can attack or tackle with clients. And I don't think there's any one right way or wrong way. I think some things that are changing in our industry is I think more and more people want done with you or done for you. I feel like this information overload with all of social media, and now we're all spending so much time learning AI. I think we're seeing people want more, again, more things done for them or done with them so that they can move through that a lot faster. So that's one of the things that we've really been noticing.
Let's talk about AI a little bit, which is a popular
Mhm.
subject, and it looks like AI is here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere. And our audience and our listeners, they know I'm part of and a business software company, and AI is also part of my business as well. But we love to hear from our guest in terms of um, the impact of AI. So, what do you think about AI, and how do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays?
So I love it. And I kind of take it back to when my business partner first started her marketing agency was back when most smaller or local businesses were finally getting on board with the fact that they had to have a website. And then we moved on to Facebook rolling out fan pages and businesses jumping on that. Then we moved into that blogging era and email marketing. LinkedIn was just a resume site before people really figured out it was a lot more than that. So the same pushback we had to all of those things you're seeing with AI, but I do think it's another tool that we can embrace and leverage. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, well, AI is going to completely replace my virtual assistant." And I'm like, AI is not going to replace my virtual assistant. AI is a tool that my virtual assistants are using to be more efficient. And this allows them to do more things for us. It allows me to offload more things. So I think that AI is just a fantastic tool if we choose to use it. I think it's like anything else in human history. Humans will use it for really good things and humans will use it for really bad things. That has nothing to do with the tool in and of itself. It's just human beings, how we are sometimes. So, I think we'll have some issues, but I do hope that, people will embrace it and figure out how to leverage it so that we're not working as much or as many hours. And I think that's really powerful.
I have another podcast called Two Guys All Things Tech. I have a co-host, Anthony Lucidi, so we teamed up together. And in that podcast, we just talk about technology. And it's a little different because we just share
Yeah.
our thoughts and then we just debate.
Yeah.
And our popular subject is always AI. And actually, in last couple of weeks, we talk about how to regulate AI,
Mm.
which is a subject that we can talk about for days and weeks and easily. easily.
Mhm.
And to your point, there is a lot to discover in that sense. We'll see, remains to be seen. But at the same time, it looks like it's here to stay. That's what we are.
Yeah.
That's what I've been seeing as well. And to your point, we talk to different business professionals because of the American Business Podcast, and we love to be a voice of these businesses.
Mhm.
And most of the time, until now, this is our 150th episode. That is the feedback that we have been getting so far in terms of AI. AI is a tool, is here to assist, and businesses they try to adapt to this change. And what is cool about this technology is, now it's my technology background is talking. Well, what is cool about is that, well, it's not only for Fortune 500 companies anymore, right? Even small companies or mid-sized companies can afford this technology, and to your point, use it as a tool to improve
Mhm.
their business. That's what is exciting about it. That's it always gets me going when I think about AI.
Yeah. It's interesting because, I've got friends that have kids in college, and a lot of them really are afraid of AI. They're afraid it's gonna replace them completely. They're angry and frustrated, and they're living in this place of fear that there's not gonna be jobs for them. And I think that's really sad that that generation is not, usually it's the younger generation that's like, let's check it out and figure it out, make it work. So that's a little sad to me to see younger people, just having so much fear and anxiety around it. The internet was the same way, right? So we survived that. And what happens is we evolve and we change, and jobs evolve and jobs change. So, and it's one of those things that change is the one thing that always stays the same. We're always gonna have change. So that's the only thing that's a little bit sad to me about AI, is just the younger kids that are, feeling so sad about it or so stressed about it.
Yes, one of our guests in summertime, we had Dave Kerr from Kerr Consulting, and
Mm.
he's the leader of an enterprise software company. And I asked him the same question: what should next generation do? AI is coming up. It's gonna. It may reduce the job availabilities, especially in the entry level jobs. He mentioned that they should rather learn how to use AI, or someone else will take their place. Who
Mhm.
knows how to use AI as a tool in business? So that's what I got as a response at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a lecture, a guy named Zev Wetzler, I think was his last name, and he was talking about, there was a time when you thought, well, if you wanted your kids to go into a really fascinating, fast-paced industry, you would want them to learn how to code. But AI
Mhm.
is eventually going to do a lot of the coding for
That
us.
is so true. Yes.
Yeah. So he is helping his children really learn to embrace AI. And one of the cool things that he said is he has trained one of his chat bots to actually take his 7-year-old son's artwork, because he loves creating artwork, and he kind of trained it to act as an art teacher for a 7-year-old, and it critiques his art. It tells him what he did really well, and it tells him ways he could improve it, and he loves it. He's like, the minute he finishes a piece of artwork, he's running to me to run it through the AI. So I think it's
Wow.
powerful when parents can figure out ways to help your kids start to use AI and understand that it's not all bad. I also have this huge hope that, over the years, every country in the world has spent so much money on cancer research. I would hope that we could give all that cancer research and feed it into one AI and figure out if we could finally come up with a way not just to cure cancer, but to completely prevent it. So I
Mhm.
think there's lots of amazing things that could come from AI.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. I actually, a couple of weeks ago, before Thanksgiving, I joined a networking event. I'm a business networker. I network a lot with other business professionals, and in that organization, we had this discussion about AI. We had a great guest actually on that day, and he talked about leadership in the age of AI,
Mhm.
and Joe Beauchamp, and one of the things that we talked about at that time was, in the room there were some representatives from universities, so how students are using AI, and some of them are just using AI. They're not really using their own insights anymore. Some of them is mixing it. So that's also another point. So we are getting different insights from
Mhm.
different industries, and at that time we talk about how students are using AI in colleges and how they utilize it and so on. So just feels like it's a transitional time in terms of how AI will be used, how it's going to actually change the life and still changing it. But at the same time, in news, we are seeing that there is going to be um, universal uh, income for everyone, and AI will do everything in next 10 years, 15 years. Like we are reading these in the newspaper as well. So then naturally, to your earlier point, then people get have anxiety in terms of what's going to be the future.
Right.
So I think it remains to be seen. But then absolutely, we can talk about it for hours. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why we
Yeah.
had the whole different podcast for this, just to talk about the technology.
I don't blame you. Yeah, because none of us know, but you
Yes.
know, I don't know if my car needs to be serviced, and I'm lucky I have a mechanic that comes to my house and services my car, and he's coming tomorrow. I don't know if AI is ever going to come to my house and service my car. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
So or
Well, yes.
I don't know if AI is ever going to cut my hair. So like, yeah, like I think
Yes.
there's going to be things that human beings are still going to do. But I even think with just
Mhm.
social media, I think we're seeing, because you and I are of a different generation. The internet was introduced to us as adults, so it's different than someone who grew up on the internet. But I do think that AI is going to be very similar in the sense that we're going to find out what it can and can't do and where it can best be used. But I do think with social media, I think a lot of people are starved for more connection. And I heard this recently, and nothing to do with AI, but just basically social media, is that because we're so starved for connection, the collaboration is going to be the new currency. And I thought that was a beautiful thing, like getting back to collaborating with each other and figuring out how to, build things and help more people in different ways by working together.
Yeah, this is really exciting. And yeah, you mentioned about car. I'll just share these. Just actually, I was reading an article before how the AI will change and technology will change. Not necessarily AI, but it's also technology in tandem. So in the future, the article was talking about we'll have no cars at all. I mean, we won't have to own it. There's going to be like Ubers and Lyfts like running all over the place. Whenever we need to go somewhere, we'll just call one of them and it'll take us somewhere. So we won't need to own a car and take care of a car in the future. That was the vision of that article. And hence, since we
Yeah.
don't have a car anymore, then we don't need garages in our homes. And
Mm.
it will change the architecture of homes. So then we'll build something without, homes without the need of a garage because you won't need a car. You won't own a car. How
All
interesting
right.
is it?
Well, I'm going to say over my dead body, I love driving.
All right.
So I'm one of these people. I love driving, and
Yes.
so I joke that when I'm like 90, you're gonna have to like
Did you
pry
watch
my
the movie
hands off the steering wheel.
iRobot? iRobot. Did you watch the movie iRobot?
No, I did not.
Okay. So it's actually this futuristic movie, and it talks about exactly that. So in the future, there are a lot of robots. They're it's taking care
Mhm.
of things, and uh, the uh, the actor he was actually driving the car manually, and then they were asking like, "Are you crazy? How could you drive this car? Just how do you find the courage? You are so brave because everything is automated, right? Autopilot, and then he's just
Yeah,
driving just like we do nowadays. So it becomes a
yeah,
big deal. Yeah,
yeah.
so it's very interesting to see these. But then seeing those movies and seeing these changes nowadays in slow motion looks like
Hmm.
it's going there in a certain
Yeah.
pace.
And I do think there would just be something fabulous about like letting my car just drive me part of the way. Like if I wanted to go on a long road trip, let it drive me part of the way. But I
Uh-huh.
think there's things that we have to decide if we enjoy doing them, we can still do them. Like if it's something, you don't have to outsource or automate, you know, things that you enjoy doing. And
Mhm.
I think again, that's, I'm stubborn. So like I said, over my dead body, will I give up my car and driving just because I enjoy it? But I
Correct.
could
And
also see the
yes,
benefits of having a car that could drive me when I didn't feel like driving.
absolutely. And we grew up with it, right? We know
Yes,
how to
yes,
drive, so why not? So I
yes.
think it's a generational thing, right? So when
Mhm.
generations changing in the future, some of the generations will grow up. They'll grow up with autopilot,
Right.
so they
Yeah.
won't need to learn driving perhaps in the future. Then they won't ask for manual driving perhaps. So I
Right.
think it'll take some time to get these full automation, highly likely. But in our time right now, we are in transition mode in a way. Then why not? Of course, we can drive. If you like to use autopilot in our Tesla, we can. But then if not, then we can drive. So right now we have options.
Yes, yes, we'll have options. We'll definitely
Yes,
still have options. I
options like
do
that.
also have a little bit of concern over, we know that as we age, the more active we keep our brain, the healthier we're going to be. So there could be some concerns around, how are you going to keep your brain really engaged and active if AI does almost everything for you? And I think that's going to be a conversation we will have to have, because it'd be sad to see our life expectancy start to get shorter because, we're not utilizing, our minds.
Well, I like to shift our conversation to crisis and uncertainty. How to survive crisis and uncertainty in business.
Yeah, just expect it. No, it's coming. It's just part of life. So
Yes.
I think always having a good runway financially is helpful. So making sure that you're managing your money, your revenue and your expenses, and you're managing that really well. I think the other way is, when things happen, just remember we're not failures. Sometimes we fail at things, but we're not failures. And you can always learn lessons from whatever challenges you have in your business or in your life for that matter.
You work with different business professionals, and you also hear their challenges, their expectations in their markets. And based on your observation and experience, what are the best marketing practices that brings the highest ROI for businesses?
Well, like you, we have a podcast. We actually have two. We find our podcast brings in a lot of revenue for us. I guest on a lot of podcasts. I think that's one of the things we're seeing a lot more of is people want that connection again. They want that authentic relationship. Like you, I'm out networking. If I didn't network locally, I would never leave my house, which would mean I couldn't drive somewhere. So I I do a lot of networking. And so yeah, I think that there's somebody said, the whole concept of an online business or an offline business. I'm sorry, most every business is online and offline, right? So, yes, you do have businesses that completely sell things just online. But you think about Amazon, they still have human drivers delivering stuff right now, right? They have
Mhm.
people in factories. So, you have businesses that are really about both. And I think marketing should represent both. Thinking about how can you have relationships and contacts with people who could be your raving fans or your affiliate partners, and then also figuring out how to have a good online presence. So I think it's really a balance of those things.
Absolutely. And speaking of networking, we have an online networking event coming up. I can just announce to our audience, to our viewers and listeners. So we actually organize monthly online networking event. We call these the Connection America Business Alliance online monthly events. And what is cool about it is that during this event, online business professionals are able to network, and at the same time, we stream it live on the American Business Podcast, and we do it a monthly basis. So to our viewers and to our listeners, if you're interested, you are more than welcome to join us. I have a QR code on the screen, and the next one, actually, we are in December already, so that's the December version coming up for December 19th. It's gonna start at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone, and if you scan this QR code, you can register and join us. Just a brief commercial break, let's just say.
I love it. Well, Kevin, since it's Eastern time, out of curiosity, where are you? Where are you located?
New York City. That's
Okay,
our
awesome. Awesome.
base.
Nice.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's talk about your role models, if that's okay. In your career journey, have you had any role models, any mentors who help shape your career journey?
Yeah, I think like so many. I think, as a business owner, I find that so many other business owners are willing to give you advice or to encourage you or to help you. I also think coaching played a big role. I joined Dan Sullivan's coaching program maybe 20 years ago. And so I feel like having people who've been there, done that to advise you and kind of hold your hand and take you through things was really good. Makes you think about things you had never thought about. So yeah, I love Dan Sullivan and Dan Kennedy. Just there's so many great role models. And now that we have, YouTube, I follow so many great people on there, and I just learn something new every single time.
Absolutely. In that sense, that's a great resource to learn from others. Absolutely. Um, if there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
Sure. So, like I said, I was in the mortgage and the real estate industry in 2008. And, I think a lot of us didn't know, we didn't know what we didn't know. So looking back, I probably should have laid off part of my team and I didn't, which cost me financially personally, but I still felt like it was the right thing to do. Looking back, obviously you have a different perspective, but at the same time, their families depended on that job. So, I think that was a big learning lesson. Again, when we talk about crisis and things that happen in 2008, none of us knew how long that was going to last or what it was really going to be like because we'd never been through it. So it's understanding that you make the best decisions you can with the information that you have at that time. So, yeah.
How to stay motivated and inspired in times of challenges and hardship in business?
Yeah, I love helping our clients. Like I love seeing their aha moments. Those are the things that keep me excited. So if I've had a crappy day for whatever reason and I have a coaching call or, a sales call or a conversation with anyone, I enjoy that. That really inspires me. And as a business coach, I'm so lucky I get to see all these amazing things that other people are doing. I had one of my clients yesterday. We've been working together for 2 years. And he's getting ready to renew his contract for next year. But, he has all these big goals and he's worked so hard to build his business over all of these years. And we've just been talking about different goals that he could have, paying off his primary residence, paying off some of his rental properties, expanding his business. You have all these options. And, you know, yesterday he informed me that he just paid off his house. And he said he was giddy. That would be the word I would use. He was giddy and excited. And he said, I kept thinking about, all these different things I could do with the cash flow and the money I have coming in. And maybe paying off my house because it had such a low interest rate was not the best financial move, but emotionally it is like the best. It was so amazing. I feel so good about it. So I just get really excited, when I see my clients have those types of, wins.
By the way, where are you based out of?
I'm in Sarasota, Florida, and my business partner is in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds
Yeah.
great. Well, is there a book, a movie, a show that help you shape your career perspective over the years?
Yeah. So my favorite book ever is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. There was a time when I read it every year. I haven't done that in a few years. Maybe it's time to read it again. I actually found a second edition copy, which was interesting because it was given to a woman named Catherine. And that book is, back then it was, women really weren't in business and it was really written from a very male perspective. So I thought it was fascinating that I found a copy that had been given to a female. But yeah, I find that Napoleon Hill was years ahead of his time. And there's just so many classic lessons in that book that I still love.
Yeah, I love the fact that you talk about the book. Of course, we welcome movies and shows as well. However, books are really special for us as business professionals. And I try to talk about different business books in different episodes in the American Business Podcast. And I'm glad that you talk about the book. And that's actually very, very informative for our viewers and listeners.
So what's your favorite book, out of curiosity? I've always liked to ask, what's your favorite business book?
Well, okay, yeah, thank you. Well, actually, I have a couple of them that I like. Recently, actually, I got one of them from one of our guests, Third Element, that I got it, and it talks about business and the career itself. Actually, I'll just bring it to the screen as well, because we start to talk about books, and any of our guests, if they have a book, then we actually promote the book.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's a pretty cool book that I enjoy reading. Actually, it was actually pretty good. And also something that I learned from one of our guests about lifestyle asset management. So what is lifestyle asset is another book that I actually like it very much recently.
Okay.
So in addition to books that we read on daily basis, I also love to learn from our guests as well, from their books and from their insights. So I try to continuously improve myself. That's actually one of my ways. That's why I love the American Business Podcast. I love to create and facilitate these informative platform, the podcast, for business. But at the same time, it's also great for me. I'm also learning from you, from our viewers, listeners. We get a ton of questions and insights, so that always help us learn from these books. I also like the 48 Laws of Power. That's also one of my favorites as well, from Robert Greene.
Yeah.
So Yeah, and yeah, I'm thinking about actually having another edition for the American Business Podcast that we can talk about books only, because there are really, really good books in the market
Yes.
that we can really talk about, discuss, and share the insights. So book
Yes.
conversation always excite me.
Well, I've got two new books thanks to you on my list because I love reading and like you, I love learning. Jeannie and I host a podcast too, Six Figure Business Mastery. And I don't know about you, Kevin, but sometimes I feel like we're selfish because we get to have these amazing guests on our show and just ask them all of these questions. And we always learn so much and we get all so excited. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from with that. It's pretty amazing to have all these great conversations with people who have so much knowledge and skill in areas that we don't.
Yes, yes, and I think that what makes the business fun and exciting in a way, because we need to keep learning. Now we need to learn about AI, we need to adapt it, and we need to also remember the fundamentals. Even technology comes in
Mhm.
at the end of the day, just to support your point earlier. AI is a tool. Software systems are tools that they need to follow the fundamentals. The fundamentals, they don't change
Right.
necessarily. The leadership, that doesn't change. Leadership is leadership. We need leaders. AI is
Mhm.
not gonna take over everything and be a leader, for example, right? Or a piece of software. Software will help, assist, but it's not gonna, change things fundamentally. So these books, to your point, critical for us to stay on top of the fundamental concepts
Right.
and values in business that we need to always remember and practice as business professionals. So that's definitely an exciting conversation. Um, what is your biggest passions and interests outside of work?
So I have a little dog who's 4.5 pounds and she bosses me around most of the time. So I love taking her to the beach. I'm a big beach person. I love the water. Recently, I've got a friend. We've been going to Pop Stroke, which is like miniature golf, Tiger Woods kind of courses. And so because it gets dark so early, so
Mhm.
we go 6 or 7 o'clock. It's dark outside, but their location is really lively, great music, lots of people, a lot of fun. Open bar, I mean, cash bar, so that's really nice. Great food. So yeah, just getting out and doing different things. I love traveling. It's probably one of my favorite things. And then spending time with friends and family. I love, my nieces and nephews, and they're all still in Virginia, but I love traveling home and spending, weeks at a time there. And I love the fact that I can work from anywhere.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's a good advantage. Absolutely. If you had a chance to go back history, personally or historically, to what time period would you like to go back and why?
Yeah. So this fun side of me would like to go back to the roaring 20s just because I loved everything about the fashion, which is funny because I'm not a big fashionista now, but I loved everything about the fashion then. You know, looking back, if you could go back to 2008 and change things based on, what we know now would be interesting. But yeah, I'm not a person who looks backwards. I always look forward. What's done is done. And I try to live in this moment today and plan like all the exciting things I want to do in the future.
We talk about mentors and as well as role models. Sometimes we get bad career advice. Something that we heard doesn't work that way. So
Mhm.
what is the worst career advice that you ever got in your career experience, career
Well,
journey?
I think some of the bad advice that's been around, for quite a while online is that whole hustle culture, kind of that bro kind of energy. And so, I think we see a lot of women who want to play into that. Like they think that that's the way they are supposed to be or they're supposed to work. And I don't think that's good advice. I think as a business owner, you started a business hopefully for time and money freedom, not to hustle and grind 24/7. And I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard to achieve your goals, but I think you can learn to leverage things. You can leverage money, you can leverage, other people's time. There's things that you can do to build your business that isn't going to burn you into the ground. So I think that's something we all have to be very careful about.
What is your career advice for the next generation
Mm.
business professionals?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we have to realize is that we're successful when we truly help other people. So, whatever service or product you deliver, that you sell, make sure it delivers on the promise that you have, right? So, be in integrity with what you're doing and what you're selling. Knowing that what you offer can truly change people's lives matters. And that's going to be the foundation of your success. In business, you always think of it, it needs to be win-win, right? The business owner needs to stay in business and make money, but the person that you're selling to, whatever that is, they want to walk away winning, whatever that looks like for them based on what you sell. Jeannie and I joke because, we spend all this time training virtual assistants halfway around the world. In our space, it has to be win-win-win, because we also want to make sure that these people that we're, training to have jobs are working for people that treat them well and pay them on time. And, when you have a great team member, you want to help develop them and help them learn new things so that they're always evolving and growing with you and your business. So I think it really is about finding ways to win for everyone.
For those who like to continue this conversation with you, what is the best way to learn about your company and to stay in touch with you?
Sure. Just go to our website, sixfigurebusinesscoaching.com. You can book a call with me. You can learn about the different types of services that we offer for virtual assistant services. And again, we're not an outsourcing agency or a marketing agency. We truly coach our clients on strategies and things that they can do. But then we place a trained virtual assistant into that business to help them grow. And that virtual assistant works directly for our clients. They don't work for us. And that's the other thing, is we're really big on empowering business owners to start to build their teams and get the support that they deserve in their businesses so that they can take it to the next level.
Before we end our conversation, do you have any question for me?
Well, first of all, I've asked you quite a few questions along the way, but I love what you're doing with this podcast, and I love
Thank you.
that you're so excited to talk with people. So I guess my big question for you, because I often think about this myself, is if you could have any guest on this show that you could have, who would it be?
Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. Yes.
Okay.
I'm a fan. So I love his analysis most of the time. So that's
Awesome.
something really, really exciting. So yeah, actually, I'm glad that you asked that. Actually, during Thanksgiving break, I actually watched some episodes of his podcast, and his insights are actually pretty exciting and inspiring in a way. So yeah, he will just come to my mind.
Yeah.
Right
So
away.
anyone out there who knows him and could connect Kevin, do that. How awesome would that be? Just some listeners
true.
like, oh,
I haven't tried
know
yet,
him.
but I'll definitely appreciate any assistance, of course, no doubt about it. I
Yeah,
actually,
that'd be awesome.
that would be also great for our viewers and listeners as well, because
Yeah.
you also have a podcast, and as our position, we need to facilitate these conversations. So we need to invite guests as informative, as interesting, as inspiring as possible, and that also helps our listeners and viewers to learn and grow with us. And the way that I'm looking at the American Business Podcast is as a business community. They're not just listeners, actually, they're not just viewers. We are just actually becoming a business community together.
Right.
And we're going to grow together. That's actually how it is. So in that sense, the American Business Podcast facilitate these conversations. That's very exciting. And I'm glad that you joined us today. That was actually great conversation. I truly enjoyed it, and very nice meeting you. And as I mentioned, I'd love to have you also on the Connection America Business Alliance online networking event. I'll definitely send you an invite, and I'll just bring it for our audience so they can also see the QR code if they like to join us and network with us online on December 19. And I'm going to send you the invite. Hope you can join us. And thank you so much for sharing your professional insights with us and your professional wisdom. We truly appreciate it on behalf of the American Business Podcast audience as well as our team. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we'll be in touch. To our audience and to our listeners, thank you very much for listening to today's podcast, episode 105th. Well, as you know, a couple of weeks ago, we passed the 100, right? So right now, we are on the 105th episode. And we have a great pipeline for the American Business Podcast, great guests, as well as great content that we are bringing in. And as I always say, in each the American Business Podcast episode, you learn something new. That's how we design it. And there is always something to learn new. We need to keep these open mind for continuous improvement, to learn new things and to adapt the times, right? So times are changing, and we need to adapt, and we need to do our best as business professionals to stay current, stay updated, and improve ourselves at every single opportunity that we get. And the American Business Podcast is designed for it, right? It's all about learning and growing together. It's a business community. Like the Business Podcast, you are more than welcome to contact us. Please send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com. We also welcome sponsors as well as companies to advertise their products and services. You can also send us an email, americanbusinesspodcast@gmail.com, for sponsorship as well as advertising opportunities. I am also inviting you to our website, americanpodcast.tv. We update our podcast weekly basis. You can see our coming episodes and our list of guests as well as the subjects we will cover in the American Business Podcast episode. For that, you can visit our website, americanpodcast.tv or americanpodcast.us. As you know, we are not just a business podcast. We are a YouTube Silver Award winning business podcast. We have more than 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and I truly appreciate your support. Without your support and help, it wouldn't be happening. So for that, we truly appreciate it. And if you haven't done so, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. This is the QR code on the screen. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page, and you can subscribe. And if you are feeling generous, you can also share your comments with us, your thoughts with us in the comment box, in the chat box. Tell us about what you think. Tell us about what you think about AI. How does it affect your business, your school, your career journey? What is your take on this? Tell us about it. And you can put it in the chat box. We appreciate your conversations and your interaction with us. Great. What is next? Well, as you know, we promote books, we promote business conferences. The American Business Podcast is all about business, and we design it to be informative and educational. The conference coming up that we recommend that you consider is Live to Lead conference. It is scheduled for January 23rd, 2026. I'm also planning to be there. Joseph Beauchamp, he's a leadership guru. He will be there and he will lead this conference. He has great insights. As I was talking with Kristen earlier, I had the pleasure of having Joe Beauchamp in one of the events that I was organizing at Hauppauge Industrial Park on Long Island, New York metro area. And he talked about the leadership in the age of AI. This Live to Lead Long Island conference is designed for a whole day, and it's all about leadership. As I mentioned, to my point, AI may replace a lot of business functionalities operationally, but it will never, ever replace a leader. Leader is a leader. We only follow humans, right? So in that sense, these leadership conferences are very good and very informative and very helpful for us as business professionals. And Live to Lead conference is one of them. So I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, you can learn more about the conference. And if you're interested, you can also sign up and join us. As I mentioned, I'm also planning to be there, so we can also get together in person. Great. Well, let's talk about our sponsors and supporters. Ms. Excel, if you are interested in learning about Excel and other Microsoft Business software systems, consider Ms. Excel. They have a fun and engaging way of teaching these software systems, Excel and other Microsoft software products. And when you scan the QR code on the screen, it'll take you to their website. You can see their course catalog. You can pick the course that you like. Before you check out, I have a discount code for you coming from the American Business Podcast, ABP 2025 for the discount. And you can enjoy this discount when you are checking out and learn Excel and other Microsoft Business software products. If you are an organization which is highly regulated, such as healthcare, defense, aerospace, when it is time to get rid of and replace your electronics, you need to recycle them with a reliable source. For these, consider Puffish USA Sustainability Solutions. They are specialized in data destruction, and also they are specialized in destructing your laptop and other electronics if you need to recycle them. And they also record all these operations, and they also document it and send you a report. I had the pleasure of being in their facility personally. They have a secure facility. They wiped out all the hard drives and laptops. That's amazing. And if there is a need, they also destruct all these electronics physically as well. They have special machinery equipment there as well, all in a secure facility. And more importantly, they are great people to work with, and you'll enjoy working with Puffish USA Sustainability Solutions. They are experts in data destruction, and also they are passionate about environment as well. They are very knowledgeable, and I actually had the pleasure of having their CEO in the American Business Podcast, and we talk about sustainability and the importance of sustainable business processes to save environment. That was a great conversation as well with David Faverio. If you like to build team, for team building, consider Spot Corp events. They are specialized in organizing events to help your team bond. And I have the QR code on the screen. When you scan the QR code, it'll take you to their website. You can learn more about their organization and their activities. And if you like them to help you put together an event for team building, consider Spot Corp events. They're experts in this field. Also, they are great people to work with. I also work with them. I enjoy working with them as well. So they're also highly recommended for team building activities and events to help team building and bonding. And I have the QR code on the screen, and consider them for team building events. If you're in the market for ERP software system, ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Consider iTech Consulting. They are specialized in SAP and Oracle ERP software systems, and ERP systems are fundamentally accounting, purchasing, accounts receivable, accounts payable, and other functionalities all in one platform. These are designed for unified business operations, and iTech Consulting is specialized on the SAP and Oracle software systems. They are experts in this field, and they provide implementation, configuration, and support services. When you scan the QR code on the screen, it will take you to their website. You can learn more about their activities, and you can get in touch with them. When you get in touch with them, make sure the American Business Podcast send you to their website. As we discussed earlier, our next online networking event is coming up December 19. Join us. That's a unique event. What does it really make it different? It's not just a networking event. During these online networking event, you'll meet with other business professionals, and at the same time, you'll be on the American Business Podcast streaming live. So networking and podcasting at the same time. That's a great way to promote your company, your products, and your services. It's all about these business interactions and conversations. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code. It'll take you to the registration page. You can sign up and join us. We have limited seating because we can only get a certain number of professionals on the event. And I hope you join us for December 19 at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time Zone. Please scan the QR code to sign up. And my other podcast, Two Guys, All Things Tech. I am a co with Anthony Lucidi, and during these podcasts, we just discuss about AI and other technological events and updates. And there is a lot to debate about. We just finished how to regulate AI, whether or not to regulate AI, and how we should regulate AI. So actually, we had a lot of things to debate and converse. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page for the Two Guys All Things Tech podcast, and that's a different setup. In this podcast, I'm with our co-host Anthony Lucidi, so we have these debating and conversing podcasts. So the style is a little different than what we have in the American Business Podcast. Moreover, soon we're gonna talk about change management in technology in the Two Guys All Things Tech podcast as well. And if you're interested, you can scan the QR code, go to the YouTube channel, and subscribe to Two Guys All Things Tech podcast as well. And I'll be there with our co-host Anthony Lucidi. Great, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for being with us. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. We help and support businesses, and we facilitate informative and educational episodes in the American Business Podcast. Thank you very much for your support, and I'm looking forward to having you in the next The American Business Podcast episodes. Thank you very much. Have a great day.